Hey guys, this is CoderJeet, your best friend in programming, and today I'm going to start off a new series. It's on C Sharp, and we're going to have a series of videos on C Sharp. I'm going to try and give you the complete training to make you a very adept programmer in C Sharp. And we're going to begin right at the beginning, and the beginning of all things is why. So, why should you learn C Sharp? That is the question that we're going to answer in this video. So let's get started. As it stands today, C Sharp is one of the most popular programming languages in the world, and it's going to maintain a solid position for a really long time to come. Let's take a look at an interesting index. This is the popularity of programming languages index, and as of December 2022, C Sharp is number 4 on this list, and I see it holding this position for a really long time without any challenger in sight, and I will tell you exactly why. On the number 1 we have Python, then we have Java and JavaScript, and Python is a pretty powerful language at this time, very popular, but unlike C Sharp, it's not a compiled language, it's interpreted, which means there is only a limited amount of things you can do in Python. And right now, because of machine learning, data science, it is all the rage, but it is not comparable to the raw power of C Sharp. Java has been a very tough contender. It's been an open source language for the longest time, and I am a big advocate of Java too. I have been programming in it in an earlier time, but I think C Sharp is just an all-around better language, and when you code in C Sharp, you will just enjoy it more. You will like the flexibility, the power more. You will see that it's more organized, and you would not want to code in Java again. There is another reason. C Sharp is more universal than Java. Who would have thought of it? But in C Sharp, you can code for more platforms than you can code in Java. And then on number 3, we've got JavaScript, which has emerged to be quite an amazingly powerful language. I have coded in JavaScript on the front end and the back end, and now you can code in JavaScript even mobile apps too, which is perfect. But yet again, its fallibility is that it's an interpreted language, and it just doesn't have the structure or power of C Sharp. So I see C Sharp being there for a long time, and maybe even becoming stronger, because it's got a lot of positive things, and we're going to talk about those as we go ahead in this video. Now, I believe that C Sharp is one of the best languages to code in, and I have coded in nearly every popular language out there. I started with Delphi, which is Pascal, of course, and I've coded in Visual Basic, I've coded in C Sharp, in JavaScript, and many other platforms, in Java, of course, too. And out of all of these languages, my favorite is C Sharp, just because it is such a beautifully organized language. It borrows the best from every single platform out there. It's blatantly based on Java. It was actually invented inside of Microsoft to compete with Java, but they did such a better job on creating a more powerful language. So when you code in C Sharp, you're going to enjoy the clarity that this language has. Now, the second thing is the dotnet framework is a huge resource. So when you get coding in C Sharp, you don't just have access to the programming language, to the compiler, but you also have access to the huge dotnet framework library. And personally, I find it a little bit of a mess, because it's been through so many iterations, so many different versions, and there is a little bit of confusion because it just doesn't work very well together when you move from one version to another, and that is an irritant. But if you can overcome that, dotnet framework is absolutely amazing. It's like having about 30% of your code, of your program written for you already. There are so many libraries in dotnet framework, so many ready code pieces, all the common things that you want to do in your programming task, in your project, they're all usually done in dotnet framework already, so you can just plug them in and go right ahead. Also, dotnet framework is something that you can use on every single platform. You can use this on desktop applications. You can create applications for PC or Mac. You can use this on the mobile apps platform, so you can create mobile applications for Android, which I forgot to put in the list, but it's right there. And you can also code for iOS, even for Mac OS. So you want to create an application that runs on all of these platforms, that's possible in C Sharp. Then it also is an excellent web server programming platform. So you don't need to code in PHP and learn PHP separately and then learn Java for your applications. You can just do that all together in C Sharp. So you can code your desktop applications, you can code your mobile applications, you can code back-end server using ASP.NET Core, which is an excellent platform again, and it gives you the full power of .NET framework. Or you can even code on the client side. So using the latest technologies like WebAssembly. Now C Sharp is on the browser client side just like JavaScript, and it's a pretty new technology. I have been using it. In fact, on my channel, on this channel, you will find plenty of videos on Blazor, which is the front-end technology that uses C Sharp. It still has to mature, in my opinion. With time, it's certainly going to be better, especially with more educational resources out there. But for now, even now, it is a pretty powerful language, and you can do a lot of things that you would need to learn multiple languages for by just learning C Sharp. So it works at every end, at every single platform, and it is just the most universal programming language out there. And then it also has a huge community of developers. The first time I started coding in C Sharp was in 2001, and it's been 21 years. Since then, the language has just become more popular, and it has earned a huge community of developers, people who are eager to write content, to create videos like this one, and to even help other programmers. So if you go to Stack Overflow, there are over 400,000 questions already answered using the C Sharp hashtag. So if you're going to look for a problem or solution on Stack, it's quite likely that your solution is already there, your question has been answered, and people are on the site right now who are looking for answers and who are looking to provide answers. So if you're going to code in this programming language, you're going to be definitely not feel that you're all alone. And then while the C Sharp language is actively developed by Microsoft itself, all of the surrounding platforms that use C Sharp are all open source. That means the ASP.NET Core framework that you use to create web applications, that's open source. And the .NET MAUI platform, that's new and that will help you create cross-platform applications. You can code for the desktop, you can create mobile applications, that is open source too. Then the newest front-end development platform, kind of like React, it's called Blazor, that is open source too. And there are a number of other smaller platforms, smaller technologies that are all open source, and the C Sharp development community is now contributing actively to a huge number of open source projects, big and small, to help you in your development journey. So you can create issues on GitHub if you face a problem, and community members actually participate pretty actively to solve those problems, to make every kind of toolkit or tool sets better, and to take you forward in your journey as a developer. And if you're thinking that C Sharp is 100% a technology that is created and dominated by Microsoft, that's not really the case anymore. There are a number of companies creating all sorts of toolkits, platforms, IDEs, everything that you could imagine to help you code in C Sharp for many different platforms. So there is JetBrains with their own IDE and other toolkits. There is DevExpress, which has got a number of components that you could use to make enterprise grade applications. Avalonia is a complete platform that can help you create cross-platform applications. Think of it like an alternative to MAUI. And there are other platforms from Microsoft too, which are very interesting, like Unity, which is now the leading platform to create games. So C Sharp is pretty much there in every single kind of app that you would like to create. Now, there are lots of free tools too. It's not just paid tools, there are lots of free tools too. Even Microsoft has got amazing IDEs, amazing development tools, all free for you. So you've got Visual Studio Community, which is actually the world's best programming IDE, and you can code for every single platform within it. You've also got the more lightweight and more universal platform called Visual Studio Code. You can code in C Sharp or in other languages too using this IDE. Both of them are 100% free and are from Microsoft. So you know that they are committed to making sure that developers have access to free tools. Now I'm going to talk about some technical reasons why I like to code in C Sharp. The first is the coding language is quite like C, C++ or Java, so you're not going to be moving into totally uncharted domains. When I started coding in Python after C Sharp, I had to go through a little bit of familiarization, trying to understand the syntax, and though it was easy, it was different. But in C Sharp, if you've coded in Java, if you coded in C++, or even if you coded in JavaScript, you would be right at home with the syntax. Then it's got inbuilt garbage collection. Now, as a programmer, one of the major challenges you would face if you didn't have garbage collection was maintaining memory, maintaining objects. You would have to keep track of every single variable you create, every single object you create, and make sure that it is handled properly, disposed properly. But in C Sharp, that is pretty much taken care of for you. You don't have to worry about garbage collection today, especially thanks to all the memory that you have available. But garbage collection is always a good thing to have, and that was one of the most compelling arguments of C Sharp when it was first released and still is. Now, the next thing I like about C Sharp is, unlike some other platforms that have become stagnant, which haven't really evolved, and haven't really evolved because there is also no driving force behind them. They are community platforms, community languages, and there is no one pushing the agenda, no one trying to take them forward as actively as they should. That's why they're kind of lagging. But in C Sharp, it's not the case. Microsoft has been pretty active trying to evolve newer and newer iterations of C Sharp, bringing out new ideas, trying out new things, bringing out new features to you in the platform and in the language as soon as they are invented in the market. So they gave you C Sharp as an alternative to Java. They gave you .NET framework. Then when Ruby on Rails was all the rage, they invented ASP.NET MVC, which had the Ruby on Rails architecture. So you could have the MVC architecture, you could create better and more suitable apps. And then when Node.js came in, when asynchronous programming became all the rage, they came up with ASP.NET Core, so you would have access to asynchronous programming, Node.js kind of structure, so you could code in C Sharp even if you wanted to code like Node. So they have been doing that very aggressively. They have been coming up with newer and newer platforms around C Sharp, now .NET MAUI and Blazor, for example, that are gonna be always there to keep you right at the cutting edge of technology. So I would say today C Sharp is suitable for nearly every kind of development except for AI. And of course, Python is the king when it comes to AI. C Sharp does have an AI library from Microsoft, which is decent. I have used it before, it works, but they just don't have the community power behind them like Python does. So if you're gonna do AI, then I would say definitely go for Python, and that's why it's number one. But otherwise, if you're not gonna do data science or AI, C Sharp is the language that will give you access to the most number of platforms, and it is continuously improved. And one of the things that I like about C Sharp the most is the huge and the well-maintained knowledge base. This is the Microsoft Learn website. Earlier it was called the MSDN, and this is the hugest repository of learning resources on every single technology from Microsoft. No matter which C Sharp related platform you want to code for, you will find detailed references, guides, walkthroughs, samples. Everything is here, and it pretty much equips you to be an excellent programmer no matter what you want to code in C Sharp. Now all of this content is written by experts. That's the best thing about these learning resources. They are written professionally, they are detailed, they are formatted very impeccably, and if you want to learn, they're gonna make things simple for you. And frankly speaking, I've worked with many different technologies which were non-C Sharp, and of course I was never able to find the kind of comprehensive documentation that I found around C Sharp, around .NET framework, and all the associated technologies in any other technology. So that is a big win if you're gonna be a coder and you're gonna solve problems every day. Here's a quick list of platforms that you have available to you if you code in C Sharp. For desktop applications, there is WinForms, which is a bit older technology. I don't see you coding in it, but if you got legacy applications and you want to use the old Windows style development, or you want to develop maybe for the older operating systems, you can do that in WinForms. Then there is WPF, which is more modern, but now the thing to code in is MAUI, which gives you complete cross-platform development environment, and all of these platforms are available to you in C#. For mobile development, there is Xamarin and MAUI. For websites, there is ASP.NET Core and Blazor. And for games, there is Unity. So pretty much every single screen type, every single technology is covered. You can create applications for every single consumer out there. So if you're ready to learn, let's get started, because this is the beginning of a new series of videos on my channel, the C# learning series. And in this series, I'm going to teach you how to code properly in C#. I'm going to start with the basics, teach you all the fundamentals, all the principles you need to know to be a top grade coder in C# and churn out professional projects. So subscribe to me right now and follow this channel for more videos about C# learning. They're gonna be coming to you consistently, because we are going to go on an amazing learning journey together. This is your best friend in programming, CoderJeet, signing off.